Hey everyone, thank you. Welcome to my channel, No Closed Doors. So today what I want to talk about is I want all women to know that there is life after divorce. You might not think that, but there is. So I want you to ask yourself, are you thinking about divorce? Do you have kids and you're not really sure what direction to move because you have kids and it complicates it? Um, do you have fears that you're not going to survive on your own without your husband? Um, and have you just basically lost all interest on your divorce or on your marriage? Um, but you have no idea what to do or what steps to even think about, and all you can focus on is the doom and the fear about what is life going to look like after. So therefore you're not pulling the trigger. Now, here's my disclaimer. I do not automatically vote for divorce. I don't think that is something that someone should use as a scapegoat or just an ends to a mean or means to an end. So I do believe that there are happy marriages. I do believe that that can happen. But I feel like there's also times too where your marriage is, no matter what you do, your marriage is not going to be fixed. Either him, you, I guarantee it's a combination of both. There's not just one victim, I feel, in marriages and why they fail. So basically, this is not a video to promote divorce. This is a video to help you through my own personal experience that it's an option if that is the option you're considering. So let's start with a little bit of my background and my status, I guess. So I am currently dating someone. I would say that we are definitely in a relationship. However, previously, I was single for 3 years after being divorced. I am divorced once. I was married for 8 years and I was single for 3. And now I am dating a great guy. Anyway, so let's start with my history. Sorry, I'm getting text messages from the ex-husband, actually. Pictures of my girls. So where it all started. About, what now, 11 years now from when it started. So we were dating. I knew of his existence for maybe 2 months, and then he moved to a different state. And I was, at the time, super young, early 20s. At the time, I was living with my parents, and he moved out of state, and he caught my attention, and I was like, oh, maybe he is my way to get out of my parents' house. That's essentially why I continued to pursue him. So he moved out of state, and we continued seeing each other back and forth, going back and forth between the two states. Not even a year later, I moved to a different state than where my family and friends were. I moved in with him, and we were married all within, before 1 year of knowing this man. And keep in mind, I didn't know any of his family. I met like one of his friends. That wasn't a good experience either. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And the really crappy thing is I knew and I was aware of all the red flags, even within that first year. I knew that he was a quote-unquote player. Like, he wasn't willing to commit to me because I knew of, his past, which I'm not going to get into the details of that because that's his past. But anyway, so moved in with him. Fast forward 2 years into our relationship, and we have our first daughter. And I thought, okay, well, crap. I didn't know if up until being pregnant the first time, I didn't even know if I wanted, 1, to have a kid, 2, to continue being married to him, because before we had our first child, 2 years into our marriage, I was contemplating divorce as it was. But the reason why I didn't pull the trigger and divorce him at that time is because I lived in a different state. I didn't have any family or friends. At the time, I had a part-time job, no money, no savings, completely dependent upon this man that I chose. And that's why I didn't pull the plug, because I would have failed, and I would have had to call my parents and, run home to them. I didn't want to do that. So then I ended up pregnant with our first daughter, and I was like, okay, well, I married the man. We are having a child. Let's commit, and let's try to be happy and fix the situation that I signed up for. Clearly, that didn't work. We had our struggles. I would definitely say I knew he wasn't faithful. Even if it was emotional or physical, it still wasn't faithful. I knew that he knew that I wasn't head over heels in love with him. So for whatever that's worth, I know that pushes people out the door, makes them look elsewhere. However, you still have the choice to commit to your wife, even if you're happy or not, because you obviously were deciding to commit to me because you weren't divorcing me yet at that time. Anyways, so had our first daughter, and we continued to do marriage counseling. We were aware of our problems, and we would try to talk about our problems and try to fix it between each other. That didn't work. We might have been good for like 6 months or something, and you know how that falls off. So then fast forward a couple more years, and we have our second daughter. Now at this time, we have a house together, we have a life together. During our marriage, my family moved up here, so now I have family up here. Now, let me paint the picture for you. We have a 4-year-old, and we have a 4-month-old baby. And he finally put his phone down, which he never did. And I thought, and I'm not the type of person to go through his phone, but I just knew that something, that female intuition, I suppose. I just knew something was off and I need to look at his phone. Even though at that point, emotionally, I was already done. I was done. I guess I needed proof to pull the trigger. Now at this time, 4-month-old baby, 4-year-old daughter, and we were in marriage counseling. We were struggling. I looked at his phone, and of course, I found he was talking to other females for companionship or whatever he wanted to get out of them. Really doesn't matter. But he was talking to others, and I sat there and I said, okay, at this point, shame on me, because this is not going to get better. Here we are, 7, 8 years into the marriage, 2 kids, marriage counseling, that's not working. I'm done. So I was silent for a few days trying to figure out, how do I do this? How do I make my move? How do I get started? He knew I was silent. He knew that it was an issue. So finally I told him, I went through your phone. Don't care if you're upset. And I saw what I saw, and I'm done. I want a divorce. So that's when, he didn't clearly want me to, but I grabbed my crap and I moved in with my parents. At this time, I had no degree. I had no full-time job. I had no money. I had no savings. So here we are. I started the relationship with him completely dependent upon him. And now I have 2 kids that I have to take care of. And yet again, I am dependent completely on him. So, at least, thankfully, I had family around because, I didn't have any friends that I could trust to take me and 2 kids in. So I moved in with my parents, being 30 years old, 2 kids, nothing to show for my life, so I felt. So now let me back up a little bit. During the time frame of the marriage, now it wasn't a domestic issue or anything. We just simply had our differences, and we're not compatible. Never should have been married. So it wasn't like a domestic violent situation. But I still had a bag packed in my car because, the time that you walk out and you're angry, you're probably in your pajamas and you're not dressed, and here we are getting in your car and you're ready to fucking leave. So I had a bag packed at all times of mine and my children's clothes that was hidden away in my car. And I also had copies of all my financials, or our financials. I made copies of it as our financials changed or updated. And I had that hidden away. So, because I highly doubt he's going to let you, if you decide to leave, I highly doubt you're going to be able to get back in and say, hey, can I have a copy of the mortgage paperwork? No. So I had that ready to go. So that was some prep work that I advise. If you know that you're done, you know that you're unhappy, you just haven't figured out how, I advise that you have copies of all your documentation that you need. You're going to need that in court. And it's not like you're going to be able to ask your ex, hey, can I get copies of this? No, it's not going to happen. So be smart. This is your financial future as well. Now, I'm not saying rape the guy. I did not. He might tell a different story. But I know for sure that I did not rape the man. I didn't. So many things that I could have had more of. But I wasn't out to get his money or anything from him and leave him high and dry. I just wanted my freaking kids and gone. However, I still, disclaimer, did not take the kids out of his life. They are very much in his life. Even then, I told him all the time he could see the kids. Anyway, so I moved back in with my parents, and here we are. I'm looking for a full-time job because I only had a part-time at the job, or at the time, and I knew that I needed to get my own place because I love my parents, but who wants to be 30 years old with 2 children living with your parents? Not ideal. So I found a full-time job. I started saving for an apartment, and then I got my apartment. And in the meantime, in those 7 months that I lived with my parents, I decided to go back to school. And probably the worst time to decide to be a full-time student and work full-time and be a full-time mom alone. But I survived. So I moved in to the apartment with my girls, and he saw them whenever he wanted. And I slowly started building my savings account. I slowly started having a life again. I focused on my girls, focused on them. And then finally, probably after maybe year and a half, maybe 2 years of playing single mom, I, was decided that, okay, maybe I'll get back out there and see what type of men are out there and see what the dating world is like. That's a whole nother video in itself that I can get into if you're interested. But essentially what happened is now there is life after divorce, and here I am almost 4 years after leaving the ex-husband, and I have a good job. My kids are perfect in a sense. And I'm doing my own thing. I have my own house. and I'm dating an amazing man. Yes, I had to go through some shit to find him, but there is life after divorce. Women get so terrified, and I know I was them. I was that person that was terrified and thinking about, I can't do this. I can't do this on my own. I need a man. Which I'm not saying, that's a whole different video. Women do need men, but I didn't need my husband to survive, to stand on my own 2 feet. And that's what was missing ultimately in our marriage. I needed to do it on my own, and women, you need to work on yourself, because I know it's easy to point the finger at him and it's all his fault and he ruined your life and that's why you're getting a divorce, but it takes 2 to have a failing marriage. Now, if you feel like you can't make it, I'm proof that you can. So, please, if you like this video and you want to hear more and you want to hear some juicy details about anything, and ask how I did it, ask the steps, make your plan, have a plan. So please share, like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and yeah, let's start chatting. Real talk, girls.